welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics. I am here on this hump day with my beautiful, wonderful co-host, Christy Santiago.
Hump day.
Hump day.
Happy Wednesday. Like that's it's always going to be hump day for the foreseeable future. I like it.
Yes.
Yeah. I fuck with the hump day.
Yes.
Yes.
We are bumping.
Yes.
You're on hump day.
On hump day. This will be our new time and our new night, which I'm sure it will take a show or two before it, makes the rounds. But Wednesday night, hump day with your LEAH crew. That's all I got.
Yeah. Yes. I would like to apologize in advance.
We
And prior to, we haven't had a show in a few weeks, a few fortnights. But
Yes.
we are trying to remedy that because Fridays have been difficult. Christy's been busy moving. I've been busy just moving, just physically moving all the time. We had Nacha tied up in cords and wires down in both of our basements down under, and that was hard for him. It was funny for us. And on top of it, all of that, I went to Cedar Point the other day because it's not far from my home, and I got a nice sunburn. So you guys are going to have to look at my peeling forehead for the rest of the night. I apologize.
I thought you were molting, so I wasn't going to say anything.
I'm not a snake. I'm not a Slytherin. I am a Gryffindor.
I just slithered in on that one.
You did.
Oh, we have news though, guys, besides our personal news of me moving to a completely
nudes or news. Hold on, I'm not sure.
both.
I was told I'm not allowed to show nudes on here, so not coming from me.
No, exactly. So stay tuned. Of course. Lots of news. We have updates on things that are not good news, but we actually have good news. So
we have a lot of good news.
Yeah, we do. We do. I'm excited to have good news. I'm in a completely different spot. We're no longer in the apartment in Tampa. We have moved to Ocala, Florida, which is nowhere near a beach. it's an hour and a half north of Tampa and inland, and to a house, not an apartment. So there's that. I also have a pool in my backyard.
What?
There's that. As you can tell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I don't think I even knew that you were moving into a house, not an apartment. So that is some extra special news. Very cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. Mr. Bean doesn't know what to do with himself. He's an entirely different dog. He has a backyard that he can just go chase lizards in, and he spends most of his time chasing. Professional lizard hunter at this point. So yes.
Florida Woman Host Podcast. Hello, Riley. Hello, Smitty, and Green Hair Mike. I do want to give one small little nugget here. I just wanted to show Smitty. I was gonna say I'll only show this on screen if Christy can remember what I showed before.
Okay. Yeah.
Before we went live. Oh, what's it called? Yeah.
Oh, it's a digi. Is it? Okay. Is it Digimon?
It's a Digimon, yeah, but which one was it? I said it.
Oh no. He was a cute yellow one. That's what I know.
Cute yellow, kind of orange. Yeah. It was Agumon.
Oh, he
and I
is
knew
so
Smitty
cute.
would like it.
Yeah, that's for Smitty. See, we think about you all the time.
So there you go. I'll even throw in a nice little Gabumon.
Oh, yes.
That's how good of a mood we're in tonight.
Hi, Native. Welcome to our new night. Hi.
Yes. Oh, hey, and we have Native here. Awesome.
Native
Native,
and
we need to have you on sometime because I want to talk to you about stuff. Stuff and
and
things, mostly having to do with colonization and
ooh,
America and
nation.
Israel. I think it'd
Yes,
be such a good talk. So I'm always happy when you're here, and I always want to say that to you. So I just did right off the bat tonight. All right, we are going to go ahead and move into our first topic, which is Harris hunkers down. I like that, Nacha. He came up with that all by himself, all down under, and in our basement. And hello, alias fake name. All right, so we have a new presidential candidate, and I
we do.
can't for the fucking life of me remember we've had a show since we got a new presidential candidate. I'm pretty sure we haven't. Pretty sure we have not. This is the first time you guys have found out that Biden's not running anymore.
Oh God.
This this was great. For me, this is fantastic news because I was pretty sure of two things. I was pretty sure, one, that I wasn't going to vote for Biden. He's arming and funding a genocide. It's not that I want the other guy to win, but I feel like, as I've said many, many times before, and I do piss people off with this, and I'm sorry, I get pissed about it too. I'd rather vote for the Democrat if I can, but when I vote for someone, I feel like I'm signing on to their agenda, or I at least have to take some credibility for what I voted for. And I don't like that. I'd rather have a cleaner conscience. I don't subscribe myself. Anyone else can say what they want about me. I don't subscribe myself to um, voting against something. Right? I don't co-sign what I didn't vote for. That don't make sense to me. That's not. It seems like some logical fallacies at play. So the second thing I was really certain about was that Biden wasn't going to fucking win. For
Right.
me, it was like 48-52 with a margin of error of like 4%. Like, who the fuck's going to win? Um, and since then, and no, Riley, I do agree. It is harm reduction, but sometimes it's just not enough harm reduction for me to sign on to it. I'd rather I don't want to get into the whole thing. Repeat myself
Right.
over. Yeah.
Not a problem anymore.
Yeah. It is the lesser of two evils, but I don't like to sign on to either evil, so I don't.
Right.
Since then, Kamala Harris has taken over the Democratic position, the Democratic spot, which they were supposed to fucking wait for until like this goddamn week. So that's silly as shit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get that off my chest real quick. I almost just took my shirt off with it, like get everything off my chest. Uh, that the Republican Party, not that it's
Hey,
supposed to be. Yeah,
I
sorry, go.
I told you there'd be nudes.
There'd be nudes. So for context, the Republican Party isn't supposed to just be anti-democratic, but it pretty much is at this point, right? What the what it is now is pretty anti-democratic, right? Just look at the gerrymandering they do. That's their policy position, is anti-democratic. But the Democratic Party has democracy at its root. So that one should be pretty fucking democratic.
I
It's
agree.
just like false advertising, right? So I can kind of forgive the Republican Party for like being like RNC, like what you're for. We don't need Trump's our guy. We already know this. But they did kind of a dog and pony show, and it was like, hey, yeah, he is our guy, whatever. We're not looking at anyone else, right? So even the primaries, they canceled them in so many states. Trump was their guy. The Democratic Party can't and shouldn't do that. They can, obviously. They physically can. They have done this with Kamala Harris, and I hate that. I don't co-sign that. That's bullshit. It's malarkey. It's baloney. It's no goody.
I
The Dog and Pony Show sounds lovely. I agree, Smitty, compared to this. But since
like
then,
dogs.
no, huh?
I like dogs and ponies.
Yeah, who doesn't? Monsters don't. Republicans. Okay, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, they like to
So,
shoot them.
shoot. And if you're an independent, you like to eat them.
Oh, oh, I
Ah,
know it.
RFK jokes all over. Um,
Oh,
so where was I? Where was I? We don't. We're supposed to be the party of democracy, and we're supposed to. I mean, even if we let the DNC do its fucking thing, and we have delegates who choose our nominee, it's not really that democratic. It's still a private company picking their best little show ponies and saying, "Hey guys, vote for these." I mean, we have some representatives to vote for them for you, more or less. So, democracy, all bullshit.
yeah,
The thing I was gonna
yeah.
say is Jimmy Dore has spoken out about this, and he's right. He's right. He's right. He's right. He's right. He's right about that. He's not right about many things these days. Um, but he still rightfully hates the DNC for the bullshit democracy that they push out. So credit where credit is due. Still, don't waste your time watching a show, a shit show.
Right. A broken
That
clock is
thing's-
still right today.
Say what?
A broken
Well,
clock is still right twice a day.
I think the first time I learned that was from Goofy. Look,
Cool.
well, that's just silly.
Oh my god, I love it. I love Goofy so much. He's
He's my
fantastic.
favorite Disney character. Um,
Oh,
and it is just fucking goofy. But um, yeah. That said, all the bullshit that we have to put up with from the DNC and the Democratic Party in general, we Apologia, welcome, hello, thanks for being here. With all the bullshit we have to put up with, and us saying that Kamala Harris is probably like the second worst choice that we could have picked. Besides Hillary Clinton, I still hold that she was probably definitely worse. Um, Kamala has grown in these last few years. Like she is more um dog and pony show ready. Honestly. Right? I
oh,
don't
I agree.
know what her positions are. Yet she has come out, and that's what we're going to talk about. She does tend to flip flop from time to time, but she has become more politically savvy. Oh, Christy has a list for me. I love it. Thank you. So I'll just let you talk first, and I'll fill in whatever gaps I find. And then on top of Kamala Harris becoming the nominee and being more politically savvy than she was 4 years ago, she also did a fucking stellar VP pick in Tim
Oh,
Walz. And let me quickly tell you why. It's because Tim Walz is an actual populist.
yes.
He may be a leftist, right? It's kind of debatable, but the dude served his country. The dude was a teacher. The dude served in Congress. The
He was a
dude,
football coach.
he was a football coach. I don't need to add that. Okay, we can. And then five,
High, it was
the
high school
dude,
football.
high
Makes
school
a
football
big
coach.
yes.
Yeah, and he was a football coach who was also the administrator for like a gay sports group, just to give them more clout and help normalize that LGBT community at his school. When he could have been the stereotypical douchebag jock coach dude who's just mean to all the gays, right? And he wasn't. He's a really stand up dude, great grandpa kind of guy. Um, and then five, he was a governor who signed bills that gave free breakfast and free lunch to all the kids in his state. He gave sectoral bargaining, bargaining to nursing home workers in his state, and a whole bunch of other wonderful, really just good pro-worker things, and feeding kids things in his state. And for Kamala Harris to have picked him to be the VP was an actual extension of the arm to the left flank of the party to come in and help vote instead of protest vote. Because you're going to have to vote blue no matter who, people, no matter what. That's why the whole movement is called blue no matter who, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have the Democratic base, even if they think they're a little too left or whatever MSNBC wants to like sell you. And and what Paula G just said down here, if Harris agrees to stop selling arms to Israel, we can pretty much be in best we can hope for land. Yeah, absolutely. And she's already kind of like kowtowing a little bit like, yeah, what Israel's doing isn't right. Palestinians are people too, which is a little bit like we kind of got that from Biden, but it was very obvious half-hearted. And he's also just a straight up hardcore like Zionist. He's always has been. And I think Harris is just going to be better on it. She's not going to be worse. We know Trump would be worse. He's taken money from Sheldon and Miriam Adelson, and that speaks volumes of what he's going to do with the Israel policy. Huh?
The reason why it is so horrible that those particular two people have funded these millions and millions of dollars. Trump has promised the Golan Heights to Israel. It's Syria. It is occupied land of Syria. Like, yeah.
Which is why I want to talk to native atheists sometime about the colonization. Talk to that about someone today. Again, is just like, did we learn nothing from our colonization of America and how fucked up that is and all of the second and third order consequences that comes with? And we're allowing it to happen over here with our weapons in our name.
I think the people have, the majority of the people, especially from the Mason-Dixon line in our country and north, have learned a lot in education about that. And if not, then that's really sad. However, because of that particular fact that the population has grown more informed and educated on this topic, even if it's nowhere near people who spend their days doing deep dives like myself into this and applying empathy to everything I learned, and how can we not do it again? The baseline of Americans is no, we don't like that. We don't want that. And because of that fact, that's why we have Project 2025. That's why there is a war on our public schools. That's why they want to defund our the complete education, like all of it, just completely defund it and have education go to those who can afford it, and the schools that will be left will be pretty much, cookie cutter of God is good, God is great, here's the 10 commandments, and evolution is a theory with a lowercase
theocratic nationalism bullshit.
Yes, that's what I want that.
Quick correction, small one, because you said that like she wants the Golan Heights for Israel. Adelson does. And Ayla's fake name put in the comments. Trump already delivered the Golan Heights. This time around, they want the whole West Bank. Yes, that's where we are with that. Correct. So thank you for putting that in there.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't pretend to be against the bully while you protect the bully and give him weapons. Absolutely, Theo. That's the thing that's been driving me nuts. For those of you who don't know, I teach martial arts. That's one of my main jobs, like for a living. I don't make as much money at that job, but I do it to live. So, when you teach martial arts, you either teach like fighting arts or you teach self-defense arts. I teach more self-defense arts, so I kind of label myself as a self-defense professional, right? And I've talked to other martial artists in my community about, hey, the Israel has the right to defend itself, right?
Yeah.
And I always get the same fucking answer, which they are correct. It's like, yeah, what they're doing isn't self-defense. Like, if we taught self-defense in the same way that Israel is defending itself, all of our students would go to jail the first time they ever defended themselves, right? Like, someone mugs you, they kick the shit out of you, you go to the family reunion and slaughter all of them. That's not self-defense. That's insanity and
But
genocide. Like,
by that thinking, then Palestinians have a right to defend themselves. Egyptians have a right to defend themselves. Syrians have a right to defend themselves. Native
yeah,
Americans have the right to defend themselves. Like
every
then
people
it has
group should have the right
to
to defend themselves. I agree with that.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty basic
Called
knowledge.
being consistency.
Yeah.
It's
It's consistent.
lacking that in our political rhetoric across the world, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
got another one from Riley here. They tagged me. It's the most frustrating thing about moderate rhetoric, and there's stuff in my way. We speak October 7th as something like happening out of vacuum. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. If you don't know your like recent history with Israel and Palestine and those conflicts, you will fall for the trap of how our media spent it as October 7th started everything. It was
There were
just
attacks like 9/11 and they had to respond. And I'm not condoning any violence. I think that it's horrendous.
of course.
However, I also think that slaves have a right to revolt, that occupied people have the right to revolt. So I don't,
And
I'm squeamish, I hate it, but I will not look away. I will not be one of those people that say, I can't, it's too much. I will not look away.
I
So,
want to remind everyone that in moments like these, when we have conflicts like this, and we'll get back to this too, because that's our second topic, so I don't want to focus too much on it right now. But cognitive dissonance in this kind of scenario is your friend. It's a good thing. It can help you learn, right? Because you got to go seek some more answers. Um, but
comfortable.
also, it is a really difficult topic. Um, and if you don't have all the answers, that's okay. Like, you can think about it and you can feel sane, not actually understanding where your decisions or your outlook should lie, because this is a pretty heavy topic. There's a lot to think about. And if you're just joining in the last year or two, I'd be surprised if you really have a solid grip on it by now.
Right.
Um, I've been following it for like 4 or 5 years, and
Yeah.
I still have
So,
some questions, but I think I know where I lie.
two,
What?
I think I've been pro free Palestine. Pro free Palestine, not just
Mhm.
pro Palestine. I'm, pro human,
Free.
but
Us.
pro free Palestine for at least the past 2 decades. So
Yeah.
this is not new to me. This is
Yeah.
something where every day I thought, any day now, they're going to do something. I can't imagine that I wouldn't feel like I wanted to do something if you mess with my kids. You put my
Yeah.
kids in jail for throwing a ball or a rock. Man, look at here. Look at here. So
Yeah. And again,
have hurt
we'll get back to that Israel Palestine topic here in a bit.
okay. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump back a bit. Welcome back, Nacha. Christy's going to lay out what she has for policy goals of the what is it, Harris Walls. I just
I
want to
will
call it the Kamala and Tim
Yeah, Kamala and Tim, I
administration.
like it.
Kamala and Tim.
Sorry, Kamala. I say her name wrong sometimes too. It's Kamala.
I do a lot. The wrong
And
syllable on the wrong emphasis.
if you forget how to
that was worse than I wanted it to be.
If you forget how to say her name or you need to remember, Randy Rainbow has a song about her name and it is brilliant and will make you laugh and stuck in your head. So I want to start with one of the policies on her economic agenda, which I am down with the economic agenda. I am significantly to the left of this agenda. However, I will take any steps towards justice that we can get. It's the right way. We need it to arc towards justice. So number one, a literal ban on price gouging for groceries and food.
Love it.
What? Kyle Kalinske said, inject it into my veins.
Yeah. The funniest thing about this, guys, in a lot of their positions, I might say this more than once. One reason why I love this so much is that like Fox News and any like Republican pundit, like Ben Shapiro, they don't know how to attack this. They're like, they're against price gouging. Can you fucking believe it? Those goddamn communists. And you're like,
yes,
they're calling off your own base, sir.
They're calling it price fixing, which is what landlords are doing and are being sued across the country. That is price fixing, where they all collude and use an algorithm to keep prices on rent high. This is a ban on people gouging the American people. If you're against that, that means you're pro price gouging. So the next one is a $25,000 subsidy for first-time home buyers. Guys, that could be your down payment. Like, this is amazing. And also to come with that from not just the supply or from the demand part, but from the supply as well, to start building. And in her first 4 years, she wants to build 3 million homes, which is not unheard of. FDR did so much more than that across the entire nation in 4 years. So there's no reason why this can't be done with the technology and the funding this nation has. Also, $6,000 tax credit for the child tax credit. So, every child has $6,000 or $6,000 for the first year, and then it goes down till the age of 5, and then down to the age of 13 or 14, which I mean, they're very expensive when they're babies, but teenagers are really expensive too. So like I said, I am to the left of this, but I will take it because not having a child tax credit is unacceptable. You want more babies in this country, then you need to fund and help support more babies in this country. That's
right. So the only reason I don't like this policy is that they could have gone with $6,660. So the Republicans actually have something substantive to attack.
Demon policy. It's the Satan policy.
Don't take the money. It's the mark of the beast.
Oh, God, we'll move on. The next one, this makes me almost cry. Elimination of medical debt. Oh, that's one that I'm like injected into my veins.
Yeah.
The leading cause of bankruptcy in our developed modern nation is medical debt. Unacceptable. So yes, I think that doesn't go far enough. I think there shouldn't. This policy, from what I can read of it, doesn't stop medical debt from accruing after this policy is enacted. It just helps wipe out medical debt. So we need to get at the core, Kamala. So, but it is a step in the right direction. And the next one also, a cap on prescription costs. A cap. They cannot go.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot ever have to pay $200 for an inhaler again. Which what? They should be $20. Should be $20 max. $5.
You're right. You're very right. And I do want point out, I know we're taking baby steps, But the right thing to do at that point is just make it legal to privatize any pharmaceutical medicine anymore. Because it should not be on the market. It's a human necessity. I'm against
Well,
bottled water. Yeah, I'm one of those guys. Not
considering
bottled water to sell.
9.9% of the prescriptions that are developed in this nation are developed by using funding from the taxpayers. Yeah, I agree. You shouldn't then privatize the profits off those same
It
taxpayers that fund
makes
the education.
so little sense. So little sense. I mean, it does make sense if your goal is to make fucking money, right? Make it the
But
money, as Slime would say.
you
But
can make money though. It doesn't need
huh?
to be 500, percent profit. You
Right.
can,
But if your only goal is to make money,
yeah, I see that. My brain doesn't work like that. Someone's sick
well,
and
it's
they need a
broken. You fucking
yeah, if some
commie.
and they need the medication, there's nothing wrong with the person who manufactures that medication to be able to pay their bills as well. So at cost plus 15%. Like, come on. I don't know. I love the term greedflation. I think that that's going to end up going into the dictionary. There's not another word for that.
Yeah,
I
the
love
greedflation is absolutely insane. If you guys haven't caught on to like what we mean when we talk about the greedflation, we didn't make up the term, right? It's a thing. Ask questions. We'll tell you about it. But let's go ahead and move on. So we get
um
through the first topic.
earned income tax expansion. So it's capped right now, and also there are a lot of hoops to jump through. From what I can tell on this expansion, it's going to include a lot more people, and the cap is going to be moved a lot higher. It's an example is somebody like me who's on disability. I'm disabled, and my wife at her previous job as a banker made like $64 too much each month for me to get food assistance. As an example, they're going to eliminate that as an issue. Like, no, you're disabled, you with or without your spouse. So the tax credit, oh no, it's totally different policies, but in my head that makes sense. I hope that helps you understand that expansion. I will, like I said, this is there. It just came out, and I can only read what I could read about it. So we will know more about this expansion, and hopefully it's not a Lucy with the ball on the peanuts. The
Yeah.
next one, Affordable Care Act subsidies. This is so important. This will, like I said when we were talking about eliminating medical debt, these subsidies would get at the medical the fees in the beginning. Like, I need this surgery, I need this treatment, I can't afford it. You can go online to Obamacare and you will apply for these subsidies that will subsidize your treatment, your care, your surgery. This should have never been and doesn't need to be now. We need to have universal health care. However, if something like this, the small step works, and Americans across the nation, and I'm including you, southern states who refuse to take any money from the federal government, you need to say yes to this to help your citizens. If these people, our fellow brothers and sisters across this nation, are able to get help from these subsidies, they will say, wow, I could count on this. This really helped me. Then the next time something comes that's another little step towards universal health care, they won't be so scared of doctors coming in and having, kill panels like they did with Obamacare. So, tax cuts for the effing middle class. Like, yes, inject that in my veins too. Yes,
Yeah.
83 point something percent of the Donald Trump tax cuts go to and went to the 1%. The
Yeah.
middle class and upper middle class tax cuts that he did enact on that bill have sunsetted. They're gone. But
Yeah.
they were
I was
set
gonna say, didn't
to
they sunset in 2024?
yeah, they were sunset to end under the next president. Whether Donald Trump did the next 4 years or didn't, they would sunset under the next president, so it wouldn't be his fault. And people who are not informed see their government. Well, under Trump, I had these tax cuts. Under Biden, I didn't, and that's not the way it goes. You have to be politically literate.
I do want to say, even though that was shitty and terrible, that was good. That was a good political move, right? That was a smart political move from the Republicans to do, because then they can act like, as Trump just acted like he's the one who got the $35 insulin deal, right? They can act like, oh, well, Biden's the one who let that expire. Like, no, that was written in the bill that you passed, right? Like, they lie. They lie more than the Democrats do.
To me, it could be seen as good politics, but to me, the American people should not be used where they can suffer as your political game. I think that should be off the table, period.
Obviously, I agree with that. It's like it's like really good shit slinging, right? Like they use a slingshot with a diaper to launch the shit, as opposed to just slinging shit. Like it's still like slinging shit's bad, but there's clever ways. There's clever ways to sling shit.
A quote that I thought was very beautiful. I remember when he said it. I am a John Lewis fan. I've been a fan of his since I was in high school and was learning about, the Edmund Bridge. When I was learning about the civil rights, John Lewis is a hero of mine. I love that he was a congressman. I think that he added a lot. He made our country better by being an American. And a quote of his that was said during the DNC, I think it should be brought up more. I think he should be brought up more. I think we should enact the John Lewis policies. Democracy is not a state, it's an act. It's so simple. It's so simple. If you're mad at your government, you are the government. Go do something about it. If we don't, then the people who make the rules, the people who decide those things for us, are still Americans. They're still part of the government, but you don't get a say. And the only way you get a say is if you say something. So, yes, Mac.
Yeah. So, guys, I like to give little tidbits when we're talking about things. So, here's your tidbit. Democracy is not a state; it's an act. It's a means, right? So, one of the most productive conversations I've had with people is one with my mom, where I was arguing with her, which is always good to do with your mom, about how the United States isn't a democracy; it's a constitutional republic. And I had to explain to her, in the sense of like, right, so yes, but no to your no, right? It is a democracy because it's a constitutional republic that is voted on, right? Like controlled by the people, for the people, democratically, right? And she's like, no, what are you even saying, kind of thing. And I'm like, look, then are you like, is it a monarchy? And she's like, no, that's England, that's a king. I'm like, right, it's democracy because it's by the people, for the people, yada yada yada. I'm like, if it's not a democracy, then what is it? She's like, it's a constitutional republic. But what kind of constitutional republic is it? It's a republic, like for the people. Like it has to be decided by someone how we choose our representatives and how we make decisions. So I want to remind everyone that democracy is the means of how we run our government and how we choose who we trust to run it. It's democracy is the means. It's not a state, it's a means. Otherwise, we have a monarch be the means. Right? We could be a weird republic with a monarch or any kind of dictator. we could do that.
Yeah. Well,
Weird, but it's
England
democracy.
is a democratic monarchy.
Say
I know. England is a democratic monarchy.
sure.
Right. I know. I mean, it is. It is. There are other monarchies that are not democratic at all, like Saudi Arabia. I do believe, after, really understanding what happened to Stephen Donziger, what really happened with this Amazon case that was just won by this woman and her husband. I'm sure I shared it with a few of you, that we are a kleptocracy, 100%. That we're still a democracy in many ways, very locally. Locally, I mean, democracy is local, 100%. And
Very
that hasn't been
limited
taken.
democracy. Very limited. That's how I say.
Moved to just now, it is a very red city. There are Trump right here, 2 houses this way, Trump, 1 house that way, Trump. Yeah. I went online to try to, change my address and my voting's coming up. I got to look at a ballot, like a sample ballot of what's coming up. If I'm registered as a Democrat, I get a Democratic ballot in the city. I can only vote on Democrats. I can't vote on Republicans in the city. I'm just blown away. If I'm an independent, I get a completely different ballot. The Republicans have two long things. I mean, it's a one form on a PDF, so I'm sure it will be over like a few pages. But the way that they showed me, it was Republican, Republican, Democratic, and then independent was real short. Like, like that is not a democracy. That's a
No.
sham. Yeah.
Right. Like
That
back
it's
when I
going to.
made. Hmm?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and I feel like I say this one a lot, but back when I made individual videos, for Great Skeptic, one of my favorites still is labels help as much as they hurt. Right? Like you throw out a label, and when you do that, you kind of got to hold to its principles, or you should. Um, and then sometimes when you do that, people just expect that you're going to hold to certain principles, right? Like saying Russia is a communist state. They're like, no, that's state capitalism. Like there's a huge difference. Now, if you're actually using the label correctly, it can help. So you can classify things better, and that's kind of nice because it helps you understand certain ideologies. But when you use labels inappropriately, it just hurts in general. And sometimes, even when you are using them appropriately, when you pick a label, you you feel like you're married to that one and you can't use other ones, even though certain ones can coexist. So I like to sprinkle that in when I can. Dazzle, razzle, dazzle fingers.
Sprinkles. That's what my daughter, my Isabel, you've met Isabel. That's what when she was little, she called my freckles sprinkles.
Sprinkles, that's cute. I have a video. I'd love to share it, but don't share personal family videos online. But I do have a video of my son doing literally 100 sit-ups, and he's 5 years old. He's like counting them out, and I realized like, how high is he going? So I start holding his feet for him, and because he had asked me a question, but I didn't understand it, and we'll get back to that. And he's doing all these sit-ups. We 100, and he's not just like 1, 2, skip a few. 100. He did fucking 100 sit-ups. Like 5 years old. And I'm like,
That's
way to
impressive.
go. He's like, yes, we did. And we high-fived, and like Rachel was recording, thank God, because it was just cute on its face. And he's like, did it work? I'm like, did what work? I'm like, do I have more freckles? I'm like, what? Like, do I have more freckles? He thought that sit-ups helped him get freckles for some reason, and he heard they were cute and people liked them, so he wanted more. So he did 100 sit-ups, and I'm like, I don't even want to say
Yeah,
that now. I'm proud of
baby. You
you, but
every
you don't
day
proud of me.
you should pull his face close because my nephew who we lives here 4 days of the week. He's 7 and he has lots of freckles. And when I see him, I'm like, oh my god, did you get new ones? Like every time, every 4 days when I see him, did you get new ones? Let me see. Oh, that one's new, and then we
I
name
know
them.
I did. I
We
got a
I
billion.
don't remember any of the names because there's so many names, but we name the new ones. And so yeah, tell him he's got new ones. Of course, he did all that work. He earned those freckles.
He did. He did. But yeah.
Well,
Okay. Do we have any more on the Kamala Harris thing? Because we do need to move her to our next topic soon. We don't want to have a 2 hour show.
no, I believe that they have nothing. The smears on her, on her policies are ridiculous. So, yeah,
You
that's it.
know, she was one thing and now she's black. She chose to be black.
She just
Black
turned.
Kamala Harris. This, I love their attacks. They're not landing. They're pretty funny. Um,
They are.
don't
They
you
are
know
fun.
Trump is better looking than Kamala, says
I
Nat. Thank you.
that
Uh,
he said
what?
that. Those
He
came
said,
out of Trump's mouth. That he's better
um,
looking.
I love
Bro,
our first comment. Smitty, I remember it. Are we gonna have our first MILF president? I
yes,
give
we
that
are.
the old God damn it when I saw it. So
She's a
congrats,
mom
Smitty.
though. Can't, she can't be a MILF. She'll be a PILF president. I'd like to.
Oh, MILF. New term. Need that on a shirt. Wear that on
I will
voting day and have my entire community hate me. I'm fine with it.
rock
Um, all right.
that shirt.
I think we're ready to go ahead and move on. Just the like last note as we're transitioning over though. Tim Walz, man, what a solid pick. I love that guy. I didn't know how much I've known of him, but I hadn't seen his face until he became the VP. And I dig it now. I love it. And it's just
Minnesota is in the top 3 states in our country as far as
I
happiness.
like
They're
happiness.
number one in our country as far as
No.
happiness. Yes, and as far like healthcare, education, they're in the top 3 in this country. He has a lot to give.
Yeah,
So
and here's my prediction since you all asked. And I told a friend this earlier today. I'm like, last week I would have told you it's like a 75% chance that the Harris and Walls ticket's gonna win. This week I say 80 because, and I know that's not like in line with polling and whatnot, but like
right.
the Republicans don't know how to attack him. Trump's losing his goddamn mind. Um, he's still going through trials. Like there's so much not going for him anymore. And there was so much not going for Biden. It looked fucking bad. You have to be pretty fucking bad to lose to Donald Trump. And Biden was doing that. Kamala Harris is proving she's not that bad. Is she good? Is she great? I think that's debatable, right? Walls, less debatable. He's just a
Listen,
good guy with some good policies. Are they the
walls
best?
2028 walls.
That would be wonderful. I don't think we're going to get that, but
No, but
maybe he'll just stay VP. Who knows? But
32.
all right now, I'm saying I think it's an 80% chance that they have this cat in the bag. And um, that's where I am. That's my betting right now. All right, now so we can go ahead and move on.
Yes, Riley, Smitty holds court here and he spits the truth. That's why Smitty is the chat's king. That's just what it is. Brant's our jester. We are a monarchy, apparently. So let me dictate some rules. No.
No, democracy.
Tell me freedom.
All right. So okay, I didn't get anything ready. for this.
Okay.
But I do just want to basically just remind people what's going on. First things first. It's fucking terrible what's going on in Israel Palestine. We all know that. What else do we know? We already know that the Euromed monitor, what their last count was like 40 some thousand dead. And like every school and church in Gaza has been bombed, leveled to the ground, more or less.
The source, the Lancet, has estimated a minimum of 186,000 Palestinians.
Yes. Yes, 186,000. And that was nearly a month ago. And around that time, a couple weeks later, I started saying it is most likely over 200,000 at this point. Now, I would like to give my own little number, just trying to keep track of the days. It's probably pretty close to like 220,000 dead.
It's been
And
over
Christy,
300. It's been over 300 days. So.
over 300, yeah. So is not unreasonable to think over 300,000. So there was when we started this conflict on October 7th, there were 2.3 million people in Gaza. That 0.3 is possibly gone. And that's insane. That's incredibly insane. I don't want to do the math on the spot because I'm bad at division. And I'm sorry.
Everyone say hi, Dad, while Mac's doing math. Say hi,
Chat?
Pops. Yeah,
Hi.
Chet Balance. He says, Kamala
59 and hot.
59 and hot.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe then I will just do the math. So the math I'm looking at is the percentage of the population, and I'm sorry, I don't know that.
3.2 million. It's like between 1% and 2%.
Oops. I also just did that wrong.
Petitions in chat.
Oh.
Yeah, you're giving me a headache and I'm not even doing it right. Immediate dementia.
Oh.
Huh? I like lollipops.
Yeah, no, okay. So this is worse than I thought. And it's fine. If my math's right, and I'm not going to show my work, I apologize, everyone. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna say 300,000 gone. And I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. That can't be. I hope that's not right. I think I did it right. I think that's like 13.04% of the population. Over 10% of the population. That is, well, more than I thought. Over 10% of a human population. And I mean, I don't mean to be too human centric. That's pretty fucking bad, guys. Like,
yeah,
that's sickening. And like, I know I'm preaching to the choir, right? Nearly everyone here agrees with our position that this is a fucking genocide and it's terrible. And that Israel, at least the administrative state, is full of war criminals who need to be thrown in the Hague, or worse, but at least Hague, right? These are the kind of crimes where I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm in favor for the death penalty for these kind of crimes. If you're in the administrative part of this war, but it's sick and it's sad. Like, this is the dark side of humanity in general.
And the carnage. I mean, I have seen. I'm a history buff, as you guys know. It's one of my passions, and so I've seen so much footage from Vietnam and from World War II, and I've not prepared for what I see coming out of Gaza in real time. I watched a little boy's legs were completely not attached to his body anymore, which I know that happens in war all the time, but every day, day in, day out, that's called a genocide.
Every
You know,
day,
a murder.
at least one a day. There's a kid like with amputated limbs. Um, that's at least. Like we're not exaggerating. We're not even just trying to like round it. That's
There
like
are
every time that happens.
32,000 children in Gaza that we know of right now that have lost both their parents.
Yeah. Um,
And that was like a month, 6 weeks ago. 32,000. There are 19,000 children under the age of 10 that have zero family left. 19,000. I see it. I see it. That's beautiful, Mac. I love
yeah.
you. I love you.
So I've been wearing this for a while. Some friends of mine who came to work on my house. I always hire friends first. Um, we they gave me this free Palestine little bracelet. It's fantastic. I wore it to Cedar Point, as I said, where I got my sunburn. As you guys can see, my peely face. And
He's not.
there's a dude from Turkey there. So if you guys don't know, I don't know if they do this in Disney World, but when they have a name tag at Cedar Point, they also show where that person's from. And this guy was from Turkey. Um, so shout out to you, dude. Kamir, I think his name was.
Good name.
And he he asked where I'm from. And I'm like, oh, I'm from Ohio. And he's like, no, like originally. And I'm like, always from here. I'm just pretty freaking basic. Like I'm just from Ohio. And he's like, oh, well, I saw your free. Like he didn't really want to say it. I'm like, oh,
Right.
yeah, no, I just care. And he's like, oh, thank you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're welcome.
Empathy is
I've been like, no, like, and he's
right.
from Turkey, right? He's from next door. But it did make me feel nice. Like just showing people that you give a fuck really does make their. He thanks me 2 or 3 times, and it kind of broke my heart because it's such so bare minimum to just wear
Yeah.
this and show
Yeah.
people that like you give a shit about other human beings that don't look like you, don't live near you, don't live any kind of life like you do. Um, but it's important. It's important to people around you. And I live near like Michigan and Canada, so we do get some high like Arabic traffic um,
Right.
where I work, and I hope that some people see that and like, oh, cool. Someone we know's not just completely shitty on this. Um, but I wish
It's
more people, I wish more viewers of our show would wear something like this just to show people maybe in your area that you give a shit about it, or that I mean, no, maybe because that will make them feel good, or maybe they'll challenge you on it. And if you watch our show, we've given you enough little tidbits here to set them straight, right? And like, you don't need to be mean about it, but you can be very real about it. And I've changed a few people's opinions in my area, and I'm very happy and proud of that fact. I will wear that on my sleeve. Like, I don't want to be too humble. I'm very happy when I get to change people's minds on that because it's so fucking important.
it is.
Um, just to be human. We're a humanist channel,
Yeah.
for God's sake.
The
God listen.
saying namaste, which I'm a goofball, so I say namaste, but like that's the saying namaste, translates to the human, the humanity in me recognizes the humanity in you. The spirit in me recognizes the spirit in you. It's very beautiful. And what you're describing is at the basic level that the human in me recognizes the humans and Palestinians. It's that simple. A human is a human is a human, no matter color, creed, religion, beliefs. Even if your beliefs to me are abhorrent, I don't want you tortured and killed.
Yeah, right.
Very simple.
That's pretty basic. Um, The other thing I wanted to add to this, again, I didn't bring my notes. I'm just going off of memory, and I apologize. I should do better. Um, so hold me to it. Um,
The landslide, their economy.
yeah, that that
I got you.
they're the Israeli
Whirlwind
economy
landslide.
is
Uh,
declining.
it is
Their
a
bonds,
mudslide.
what?
It said it's a typhoon, a mudslide, it is a tornado, it is a hurricane,
Yeah.
it is a disaster.
The population, excuse me, are leaving. Retirement funds are being pulled because they don't want the state of Israel to be tied to their money.
Yeah, they're moving their money to
Bonds, what?
they're moving their money, their
They're
retirement
moving,
money to other countries.
they're moving their
Out
purse.
of their bonds, their nation's bonds, people buy bonds here all the time. Their
The
bonds
price of junk
are
bonds.
worth less than junk bonds right now.
Yes.
And
And that,
this started before October 7th, when Netanyahu started going after the courts, trying to, do what Donald Trump would do here, and they didn't want any part of it. The world and the diaspora of the Jewish people will make everywhere they go much richer. They will. It's unfortunate that fascism comes and fascism ruins, and that's what's happening.
yeah. Um, and I do want to remind everyone that sanctions and economic collapse harms people. It harms
Yes.
people. And um, as much as I despise the Israeli government and administrations, and some of their people, honestly, the ones that are most hateful. Like I despise a lot of American people for being fucking racist and Trump supporters in general sometimes. Not all of them, right? But a lot of them are at least a hefty piece of those people, right? You don't need to love the whole person, right? You don't need to hate the sin and love the sinner. Um, um, they're still people, right? And most of them actually don't know better, right? We talk about that a lot on this channel of like religious people who don't know better, um, especially the hateful ones. But like when our community took down Stephen Anderson's church of hate and like pulled their funding from a few different sources, that was fucking amazing. And I don't think that hurt anyone in their community really. Um, but it was really satisfying and gratifying to watch a group of self-righteous assholes be put in their place and have something that means something to them, which is money, be put on the line or taken off the line. And it's always wonderful. You want people to learn lessons, and people who are assholes, you want asshole things to happen to them. And I think that's part of the human condition. There's nothing too wrong with that. But again, I do want to balance that. And cognitive dissonance is our friend. Um, it is important to still realize that a lot of those Israeli civilians, even the ones saying some of the worst fucking shit, are misled people. The ones making decisions, not 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 misled or misled. They need to be held accountable either way, right? Actions speak louder than words. Words can still hurt depending on what those words are, especially if they're dehumanizing, and they can fuel the fire. But really, those actions, like the ones in the administrative state, really need to be held to account and to a hefty account. The ones who are more misled, I'm not going to say something stupid like re-education camps, but they really just need to learn better, right? Like in some way, they need to be taught a better way. And there's 100 different ways to do that, right? It doesn't have to be any kind of violent. So don't let your mind go there. It can just be giving Palestine freedom and helping them get along. And there's so many groups. I guess I can't say so many groups. There are a few groups where Israelis and Palestinians get together and find out they're both fucking humans, right? We've heard and we've talked about some of those groups and those programs, and that's what needs to happen more often. Like we need more peace. How we get there, I don't know. Like I have my thoughts. I've shared them before. Two-state solution isn't going to cut it. It's actually a one-state solution. That's what we really, really need. We need Israel, Palestine to be Israel, Palestine, and all people get full rights. That's it. And the Israeli state can't be in control more than the Palestinian state. And really, neither of them should be in control at this point in time. They need a surrogate.
What do you say when someone says to that, but then there won't be a Jewish state anymore? Because I already know my
Good, right? Good. There shouldn't be a Jewish state. There should never be a Jewish state. There should never be a Muslim state. There should never be a Christian state. There should never be a white state, right? If you think there should be a Jewish state, then you might as well agree with the KKK because it's the same fucking thing. There should be a white state, and maybe it should be a Christian white state. It's fucking bizarre. That's what you say to them. You bring up the KKK because it's the same. It is symmetrical. You bring up a Muslim state. There are Muslim states. There shouldn't be, because it makes a dystopia for people who aren't Muslim in the state, like a Christian state would here for atheists, right? I tell you, and I thank you all for being in this community, but the atheist community has taught me so much more than any other political or whatever, like philosophical community that I've been in, because of shit like that, right? Like realizing that you're some kind of minority as an atheist and figuring out what gives you freedom is also giving other religious groups freedom, right? More freedom is what gives you freedom, not just becoming superior. And so many people and people groups have yet to figure that the fuck out. But hopefully you become a humanist and get there sooner.
Instead of replying in the chat, Riley says, if you ask Hasidic Jews, they would say Jews are meant to be stateless until their Messiah returns, and the enterprise of modern Israel is not Jewish. And I agree that that is a fact, because that's what they state over and over and over again. Actually, I don't know why I'm smiling. It's stomach turning to watch how the Israeli state is treating their own Israeli citizens who happen to be Hasidic Jews. I do not agree with any fundamentalism, but I also don't agree with hurting people who are fundamentalists. Like, that's not how you change their mind. If you think that their beliefs are ancient, that they're outdated, that they're wrong, that they don't, whatever you might feel, if you want to bring them to a more liberal side, to accepting more people, to letting their children go to school with children of other faiths, to get them there, you have to use, kindness and empathy and understanding and unconditional patience, because they didn't just end this way yesterday. This is a generational thing, and their beliefs state that there shouldn't be a constitution in Israel, that there shouldn't be a lot of things until the Messiah comes back. I think all of that's ridiculous. However, those are their beliefs. And, I think that that's the best part of a democracy, is that there are people who have fundamentalist beliefs who get to vote. I don't agree with them, but I think that they should have a right to vote
Yeah.
because they don't agree with them. And I think I should have a right to vote. And so therefore I will fight for them to have their beliefs, even though I don't agree with them. And
Right.
tell them how I think their beliefs aren't true.
And here's a really ironic thing in general that we don't mention enough, but just keep it in the back of your mind. This is not the thing you lead with, but it's just that little extra cherry on top when you actually fucking understand all this shit. Most of these Jews in the Jewish state are like European Jews. They're not
Yes,
the original like Arabic Jews that like
right.
the
I know.
Palestinians are closer to being. It's
They're Polish,
maddening.
Russian, and German, and yeah.
Bunch of these secondhand Jews. And I mean, that's not to say
I
anything about the persecution that all Jews have felt in the past. But sometimes they like to like reach back in history and be like, well, this, and it's like, well, fuck. Like, you don't know the first thing about shit in this whole anyways, it's just a
fighting better ideas is the best way. Smitty says outlawing religion is stupid. It's the same as mandating religion. It's stupid.
yes, right.
Yes,
It's the same
yes,
as healthcare.
yes,
The same as healthcare. As soon as like you can keep people from making decisions about their body via the government, then the government can start making decisions about what you are going to do with your body. Like, yeah, can and can't do. It works both ways, and
yes.
no fucking doubt. All right, guys. I think that's about the show. Christy, do we have anything else?
I just have a couple things. It's not a whole topic. I didn't write anything, but I think that it is very important.
Yeah.
Project 2025 would lower corporate tax rates to 18%. Corporations have been price gouging us, and under this plan, they'd be able to keep more of these spoils. That is on page 696. Project 2025 would change the 40-hour work week to a 160-hour work month. So your boss could make you work extra hours with no overtime pay by cutting your hours later in the month. That is on page 592. On page 489 of Project 2025, it calls for renaming the Department of Health and Human Services the, quote, Department of Life, and explicitly rejecting the notion that abortion is healthcare. Project 2025 plans abortion surveillance and the creation of a registry that would put people who cross state lines to get an abortion at risk of prosecution. That is on page 455. Trump's Project 2025 calls for slashing regulations on nuclear reactors. That's insane. On page 369 of their playbook. And on page 371, it calls for privatizing the nuclear waste disposal in our nation. What could freaking go wrong? Project 2025 also calls for slashing existing school lunch programs across the board, period. And that's on page 302 of the playbook. And why would anybody want, especially the GOP, want American children to go hungry? And I think that Robert Reich says, don't try to tell me MAGA Republicans care about protecting children, when on page 302 of Trump's Project 2025 playbook, he calls for eliminating safety regulations on baby formula. So I just wanted to add that at the end so people can look up those pages. Check that thing out. The thing's insane. It's a manifesto of fascism is what it is.
Yeah. And that's rightfully
Yeah.
labeled. Great.
You guys were back. There's that.
Yeah, thanks for still being here for us, even when we just show up whenever the fuck we want. We love
No,
you
this
guys.
regular regular
Yeah.
time, 10 p.m. every other Wednesday. That's Eastern time, of course. You guys gotta do your own math.
Yes. And as soon as I figure out some shit on my end, whether it be in a week or another year, I will be uploading a little more Gray Skeptic stuff. But I want it
Yeah,
to be sooner rather than later. I do have intentions, but
native
intentions,
atheist.
huh?
Bring native on and have that conversation.
Yeah, it'd be good. Well, I want to have some more people here on the show too, but we'll talk about that another time. That'd
Well,
be
it
great.
can be a native atheist on Gray Skeptic presented by Leah.
There we go. There we go. We need to expand this league. It can't be a league of
Yeah,
three, y'all.
that's it.
All right. We love you
Stay,
guys.
stay
See,
humanist.
regardless.